to my channel and welcome to this week's WiPnChat, and I am diamond painting again. Now, I went to cut this strategically and the thing tore. This is kind of why I don't like clear covers, but it is what it is and I'll try and make it work. Now I have got a bit of sticky washi tape there. It's probably going to keep catching on me, but again, we'll see how we go. Now, I know you have, dropped comments and things like that in the past saying, oh, it's lovely to hear Sophie and blah, 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 but she's in a not listening mood at the moment, and she's knocked my keyboard flying while I was being recording twice already. So I don't know how we're going to go with her. And we'll see how we go. Now, I'm not sure how fresh this wax is. This is not a pen I've used recently. Don't know where I got it from. Can't recall. Clear green. It might be a diamond Penz pen. You would have to go back through my videos because I have unbagged them, enveloped them all on video. Alright, let me get a tray. Get rid of that. And hourglass. Now, there was only a couple of these. Alright, grab your cuppas, grab whatever you're working on, whether it's diamond painting or anything else. I don't mind. You can do whatever you would like to do for the duration. And we'll see how much progress we can make. Yeah, I looked at it and I kind of thought, well, I could do the purple hair, I could do the purple hair on the other side, or I could, I'll go for the middle. So I divided up the paper with my method. If you've ever watched my WiPnChats with my, for instance, my custom or any of my other older WiPnChats, you'll see that I section off the double-sided tape much more methodically, and it's an hour kind of workable space, whereas the clear covers tend to just keep going and going. They're a little bit more kind of free and open. Alright, I'll see if I can just, settle into a routine and remember what the heck I did this week. So I apologise if I'm a little bit kind of Space Cadet-like or jumping around a bit. Just as I, settle in. So, yeah, how have you been? It's been the first full week I've been back at work. Couple of interesting things have changed, I guess. Friday afternoons, I am going to jump all over the place, so just get over it. Sorry. Sorry, I had a line going through my face on the recording app. Alright, so yeah, Friday afternoon we had a bit of a change. So Friday afternoons, normally what we do is we have a quiz at lunchtime, which is just a bit of silliness, to be honest. They're certainly not serious questions. Although I'm sure while there's morale involved and all that kind of thing, the boss is also kind of going, yeah, they're not the average bear that you think. Whereas some other people, he's probably going, okay, whatever. It's a light competition. Some people kind of will get quite, holding people's hands down because it's a hands up first kind of answer. They'll hold people's hands down, or they'll kind of say, oh, hey, you've got a phone call outside. That kind of jibing from each other. It's all in fun and jest, and, they'll get the answer wrong and it'll be like, oh, god damn it, kind of expletives and things like that. Anyway. It's all good. Nobody really takes it very seriously, and I haven't been there for Friday afternoons for ages because I was working half days and finished at 1, and I wasn't going to hang around for, another half hour when I wanted to get out of there because I was sore or whatnot. No. I had been going when I was full-time work. I just stopped when well, I hadn't been at work, and then stopped when I hadn't been doing full days at work. So, it's just tearing. I give up. It's just tearing. All right. So, anyway, so this effectively impromptu quiz, because nobody was kind of prepared for it, because he normally sends out, the boss normally sends out an alert saying, you know, quiz at 1:30 to get most people there and all that kind of thing. So no email had gone out, and we didn't know what the subjects were. So it turns out he was reusing the questions from the previous week because that quiz didn't happen. So we did all get a heads up as to what the things were. But the study was not going to have been recent for some of these people who will actually study for this. So the topics, if I can remember correctly, were accidental inventions, phobias, and book titles. So the phobia might have been, I don't know, like, this is a really bad example, werewolf phobia, okay? The werewolf not being a real thing. Anyway, but he would then say, if you have a fear of the moon, what is this fear? And you had to then answer with werewolf phobia, or what it means or something. You know, yeah. It's a really bad example. Anyway, I actually did pretty well in that. And the accidental inventions I did really well in, because I was answering questions before they were even finished talking. And people are kind of going, what the hell? So yeah, I kind of enjoyed that I'm slightly smart in some respects. None of it useful, but, you know, I don't know, handy in a pub quiz, which I don't do. Yeah. Oh, where has that? Oh, that's that tearing. Okay. All right. Again, clear cover. You can't see where the bits are. It's really off-putting. So yeah, the book covers we had to do. We get a double-sided color photocopied, I don't know, 12 on a page kind of thing, of book titles that you had to identify. And he edits out the name of the book because clearly he doesn't want to give you the answer. Of course, got a couple of them wrong, and a couple of them were in the right kind of ilk, but not quite right. It was, you know, interesting. I hadn't read some of these books, so it was like, oh, I can't remember these. But I did get some of them. And of course, he gets all these, you know, pages back, and he gets to collate whatever. And he marks you wrong. So if you get them wrong, you actually get a minus answer, like a minus score, by 1 point. So, you know, you might only break even if, depending on how you're answering. Or you might get all negatives because you keep answering wrong answers. Yeah, anyway. So I thought I did okay on that. The problem that I have with the write down the answers sheets at the end, the third part of any of the quizzes, is there's all this chit chat at the table. Oh, what's this book? And they're all collabing and cheating together. And it's like, it's not actually, you know, they're not getting a good score on their own knowledge basis. They're getting a good score on the collaboration, which is all kind of well and good. But I'm not into that. I'd rather do it on my own merit than somebody else's kind of thing. I mean, I like kind of having the answer, and he gives us the answers at the end anyway. But yeah, I kind of like to know what I'm answering or not answer at all. I kind of feel like it's cheating, sort of. And, you know, okay, it's allowed because it's not a serious quiz. It's not like a table quiz where you're copying off the other table, because that would be all kinds of wrong, you know. But I think the first year we started doing the quizzes, I think he did like 6 in a row. COVID might have just started, maybe, because the prize that he actually gave was a toilet roll, and it was apparently quite valuable back then. Maybe it was before COVID really, you know, caused the lockdowns or anything else, because toilet roll went scarce before then. Yeah, so anyway, toilet roll was one of the first prizes. So I think that was one of the first quizzes. So we haven't been doing it an awful long time. But yeah, it it is a bit of light fun. And then after work, we actually got an email from one of the bosses saying, hey, knocking off at, I don't know, 3:30, half an hour before we usually knock off, and we're all going to have drinks in the lunchroom. And, you know, it was a very pointed exercise in this, in that they said, you know, come for drinks after work. You know, we'd had a fairly light week in the role that we do, in that the support work that we do, that agency wasn't working at full strength. I've just noticed minus. It wasn't working at full strength, so therefore we had a light week. So it was a bit of a kind of reward for having a light week all around. Whereas normally we're, you know, so flat out, we're, you know, exhausted by the end of the week. But having the Easter break meant the service that we feed into wasn't up there, and, you know, we all got to kind of just breathe a bit, and I've just spotted a whole heap of them. So it was nice, and going for drinks afterwards was a little bit different. The boss actually cracked open some sparkling white wine for himself. Apparently he doesn't drink, and he said, you know, the piddly little bit he had in his champagne glass, you know, he was going to be on his ear on that, which is hilarious. You know, just it was a tiny amount, just because he's not used to it. So yeah, anyway, so he's off down the corner of the massive table, and they start doing a round robin of the table of something that you were grateful for during the week. And it was like, oh wow, this is different. Like with the nacho parenting thing that I'm doing, the wrap up to one of the boot camps to kind of get you into the swing of things was to write 5 things that you're grateful for each day, and to write down a positive affirmation to say to yourself. Easier said than done, to be honest. Oh, I didn't. Maybe I did. The L? No, I don't think I did. So, you know, I'd already been kind of getting into that kind of headspace, I suppose. I wasn't expecting it from work. And they were kind of saying, no, it doesn't have to be work related or anything. It could be something, you know, home or whatever. So one of the girls is kind of saying, oh yeah, hubby and the kid aren't home, so she gets to cook up a storm, I think was her intent. Because her husband was away with their son. You know, and that was really cool. Oh, now I spot them. Isn't that always the way? And there's not enough in the tray now. Goodness me. You know, but mine was, because it was my very first full week back. I worked the 5 days, and, you know, I was fine. I wasn't overly exhausted. I was, you know, still having reasonably late nights. You know, I wasn't kind of going to bed at 9 or anything, you know, absolutely shattered. I was tired at the end of the day. But not to the point where I wasn't functioning. Yeah, one of the guys next to me chirped up and he said, you couldn't tell, you wouldn't have known. It's like, oi! Well, that sent cackles around the table. But, you know, I didn't take offense to that. I know I was there. I know I was active. And, you know, I got rid of a whole heap of old paperwork that had been driving me nuts, but not nuts enough to actually deal with it, because, you know, who wants to deal with old shit and get rid of it? So, and I spot more of these blinking things. Yeah, I got rid of a whole heap of old files because we have somebody else moving into my office space, so there's office moves. Holy cow! Maybe it's just me, okay? Since I was, probably would have been pre-teens, Yeah, okay, so before I went to boarding school, so age of 10, I went to boarding school and I was given a single bedroom, and then I was given, or maybe I was in the dorm first and then I was in the single bedroom. Can't remember which way around it was. Hang on. But in the first year I had two different rooms. And in the second year, I may have had one room. I know I was bullied for having a single room, and the mattress, to me, it was like Princess and the Pea. It felt like it was huge. It was big and it was squishy, and the mattress that I ended up getting in the dorm with 5 beds in it was horsehair, and it was a horsehair mattress. So it was firm and no give and unsprung, a sprung kind of base. Yeah, that was terrible. Anyway, so I was kind of used to not having my, you know, really my own thing. Like, I'd go home once a month, so things would constantly change, I suppose. But then when I had my own bedroom, because I shared for a few years, I think I shared with my sister, and then I shared with my brother who was in uni. Maybe when he came back, I just remember sharing a bedroom with him. And I'm not sure what age I would have been in that room. And then I got the front bedroom. I think my other brother moved out and I got his room. So I was in the front. But I think I might have been in the back bedroom for a bit too. Anyway, doesn't matter. I used to rearrange my bedroom quite regularly, like, you know, maybe once a year. And when I say rearrange, I mean, you know, the bed would move from under the window to a completely different orientation and away from the window, or I would put the bed, you know, in completely different. So it was a massive move. It was, you know, really changed the whole room. And I would do this, you know, on a fairly regular basis. So I was kind of used to the whole moving around, not stuck in one place. And then when I was first married in Ireland, yeah, we might not have moved the furniture around quite as much there, but we certainly did when we settled in our house, when we moved to Tasmania. So when we actually settled in a house, that would get rearranged probably every year. So we'd change it to the summertime and change it for the wintertime, maybe, you know, just to take in the views or take in the fire or whatever it was. The furniture would get rearranged and the kids would give me a hand and all of that kind of thing. So again, the landscape would change with me on a fairly regular basis. And now the landscape doesn't change here in our house too much, but you know, we do still move things, we do still change things, we do still try and, you know, improve the functionality of some things, you know, make it a bit more of a, maybe a better workflow or whatever. So it's not static either. And, you know, do most people do that? Okay, no, I don't think they do, because when I was a kid, I rearranged my bedroom, but I don't think the rest of the house changed. The rest of the house, well, Mum and Dad's bedroom moved when Mum was sick, but the lounge stayed as it was. The only thing that would change would be my niece and I making forts with the couch on a Saturday morning, and we might maybe move the TV, or sorry, not the TV, we might maybe move the couch so that we could look through the middle or through the ends to be able to watch the TV. We may not even have watched TV at that point. But basically, you know, that all kind of stayed the same. So there wasn't much changing in the rest of the house. It was very much just kind of something that I did. Well, the boss came around last week. We've got a couple of new people starting on... Oh my goodness. Just spotted more of those hyphens. Hang on. Get them back out. Oops. So yeah, the boss came around last week and he said, okay, we're going to be making some moves. And this time around, I wasn't moving, thank God, because I've got a new desk because of my back, which is a sit-stand desk, and it's heavy as all hell, and moving it was a bit of a feat the last time. Not impossible, because clearly we did it, but, you know, it's asking a lot for the guys to move it around as well. So I wasn't getting moved this time around, but my offsider in my room was. And we're both of the attitude, kind of, you just do as you're told, although she did kind of bleat that she's, you know, moved so many times. We've all moved. I mean, I've had at least 5 moves. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't bother me, except that I want the shelving and I don't want to lose stuff for the sake of the move. You know, I want my stuff to, you know, to be able to, you know, have a shelf that I, you know, worked hard to get, or had something else that I worked hard to get. You know, and as it is, I'm going to have to give out one of my sets of drawers to somebody else. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I don't know if I'm going to maybe rearrange the area, because I can. You know, there's no hard and fast rules. Our office is our office, and we can, you know, move the orientation of the desks around and all that kind of thing. So we'll see how all of this goes. So anyway, the new girl is starting on Monday, and there's going to be a bit of an overlap between her being in, so there's going to be 3 of us in this one room, and the other one moving out, and a guy moving in. So, you know, we'll see how all of that goes. She's quite noisy. I'm noisy. I don't know what this new girl is like, if she's particularly noisy. She's not going to be on the phone much, to be honest. And that's where the conversations are going to be, you know, the noisiest, I suppose. When she gets settled into her role and begins to get familiar and begins to, you know, to need to contact people. And that kind of thing. So at the moment, she probably won't actually be at her desk much. She'll be learning the ropes, you know, where she needs to. So yeah, it'd be nice to get to know her, though. I certainly have known her name for, you know, many years, so it's always a bit of a interesting mix when new people come, how they're brought into the whole dynamic of, dare I say it, the cliques and the girls who go shopping versus the ones who don't, or, you know, and there are cliques in there, whether or not she's of that mindset, or she just wants to get in, get on with her work, not worry about the cliques or anything, just join in on the, you know, things like the quizzes and stuff without kind of feeling like she has to buddy up to everyone or be the girly with the others, or, you know, it's a weird dynamic. So yeah, so everyone was talking about the office moves like it was the end of the world. One of the old staff who kind of work in support freaked out, and, you know, I was told she freaked out when I got her office the last time when I returned from maternity leave, yet she was saying to me, you know, she was okay with giving me the office. She just doesn't like change. She struggles then when she's in the same office as everyone else because of the noise levels and stuff, you know, because she's no spring chicken. You know, and there's a bit of bitching and nastiness gets bandied about her, unfortunately. I really like her. She's always given me the time of day. She's always been a good support. You know, and I will miss her when she does go to retire. I think she may have, you know, lost her edge maybe as she's gotten older, but I don't know. I think to poo her and treat her with some of the contempt I see some of the other people treat her is cruel. You know, I think we need to value our older employees. They know an awful lot of the systems, and while they might not be up to the same speed that is maybe desirable, I think they've still got a wealth of knowledge and compassion. She certainly has compassion. She's always asking about Sophie. She's always asking about the kids, you know. She's just been a lovely person to know. But yeah, a lot of people are kind of going, oh no, you know, be glad when she's gone, and kind of, it's like, why? You know, you're going to get some newbie who doesn't have the knowledge, you know, and I don't know, it's almost like they haven't got to know her because she's not in their ilk, because, you know, she's over 65 kind of thing. She's kind of, you know, tossed out with the trash just because she's old. Is it an ageism thing? That kind of thing. So yeah, there's a bit of that, which is rather unfortunate. And, you know, I can take her complaining, you know, with a pinch of salt, but I'm still very, very fond of her, and I will miss her when she's gone. Yeah. Oops, two more. So yeah, office moves. Some major moves, like relocation of some services on the floor that, you know, it's like, you know, I know I'm going to walk into the wrong office looking for someone or something, you know, initially. Doesn't that always happen? You know, but we get there. Oh, there's one more. Uh-huh. Yeah. Anywho, I think it's good. I think it's a way to get to know people in a way that you wouldn't normally. Some of the new staff are kind of going, oh, but if I want to ask a question of so-and-so, I can't. And it's kind of like, no, you get off your ass and you go and walk, or you pick up the phone and you ring them, even though they're only, you know, 50 meters away. And it's just like, oh, dear. You know, I said, you know, and yeah. They're all kind of going to the gym and they're all watching what they're eating, yet none of them appear to be losing any weight consistently or keep it off. So it's all this binge eating, you know, dieting, and oh, I need a new bag. And yet they won't walk around the office. You know, they put it in the too hard basket. It's like, oh god. Anyway. But hearing the bitching and the moaning and the complaining for hours afterwards was really wearing. I know, I have to say, it was a bit the same when I had a friend suicide, and everyone was talking about it because, you know, they knew him as well, and it was just like, I just can't take any more of this. And I had to get out of the office because it was just overload of this whole circle of whatever, and I was just like, oh my god, it's doing my head in. So I went for a walk. It's that kind of regurgitated, everyone's got to have the conversation, you know, with everyone, and I'm kind of going, oh, I need to stop talking, I need to stop, just stop. So yeah, I was glad when the conversations kind of petered out and we could just, you know, get on with, I don't know, the end of the day or whatever. But who knew that it could get so heated? It was unreal. Like, to the point where somebody walked out and somebody else kind of went, oh, for fuck's sake, across the table. Yeah, it was really quite juvenile. And I think that's what appalled me more than anything. Wasn't the fact that people, you know, weren't necessarily happy moving, but it was the behavior of grown adults. Because they were, you know, told it could be a good thing, you know, suck it up, princess, kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know. We have got strong personalities in my job. But, yeah. Dear, oh dear. I don't think I've done any geocaching this week. I think I told you about the geocaching last weekend. Although yesterday I ended up working on puzzles. We had the most horrific weather yesterday. It's actually quite nice now. It's quite windy. It's cold. It's snowing up in the middle of Tasmania. I've got horrible glare coming off because of the sun that I'm just looking at. But we have now got some blue sky, whereas before it was dark and gloomy and it was raining and heavy rain and wet and what I used to call, or what I would still call, smelly weather. Because when it's wet, you just can't do anything. And it smells. It's like, you know, the whole petrichor kind of thing. Yeah, I stayed in bed with my coffee yesterday morning. I cranked up the laptop and started working on a puzzle, and this puzzle consisted of a jigsaw. So the geocacher who created this, Sophie, can you turn it down a little, please? This geocacher had made a jigsaw puzzle that when you solve it, you get the coordinates. Okay. It took me an hour and a half. Now, I don't recall the size of this jigsaw or how many pieces were in it. It took me an hour and a half of doing this, you know, with interruptions from Sophie and, you know, trying to get her, you know, involved in watching what I was doing and stuff so that she didn't feel kind of left out, because I was, you know, in the bedroom and not in the lounge where I'd normally be. And then there was another couple of puzzles that I think were more maths. There's some that I just could not figure out. I have now joined a puzzle group that will maybe help me. And yeah, we'll see how we go. I mean, I could message the owner. I don't know why it's so surprising that owners would get back to you, because that's what they're there for. You know, when you send them a message, they should respond, and they should give you a hint, or they should tell you if you're on the right track or if you're not on the right track. Or, you know, I've talked to owners, never had any issues, and they've always been amazing. And they don't give it to you on a platter, and I don't want it given to me on a platter necessarily, but I do kind of want to feel, am I even in the right direction? You know, how hot am I? How cold am I? You know, I looked at this one puzzle and it's called steganography. Now, the art of steganography is that there's a message hidden in a picture. And I'm kind of thinking, yeah, okay, I can see this little square down the bottom and there's a code of some kind there. Yeah, okay, I can see that that could make what could be coordinates that would read correctly. And then I was looking at the source code behind it. Now, I'm sorry if I lose you because you're not tech people, but there's information that you can get in the background of web pages. And I have found one cacher puzzle that I did way back, and you had to basically go into the source code of the thing, and he had this whole paragraph written in the source code that you couldn't see on the page. It was in the source code, and he had this paragraph written with the coordinates in it. Like, it was simple. So I'm looking for this kind of thing. Nah, not finding it. I could be looking at it wrong too. So anyway, but I'm looking in the source code. No, there's nothing in the source code. There's nothing in the picture that I can see, you know, obviously giving me a hint. There's no, you know, there was the image of the code in the center, but the picture itself doesn't look like it's been altered all that much or anything else. And then I ask hubby about it that night, and I'm staring at the picture and I go, oh my god. And there's this little, you know how on the photos you can, on a digital camera, you can put the date in the corner? It was that kind of a stamp. That wasn't right either. It's like, oh. So there's, and they did say there's all these red herrings. I'm kind of going, oh God. So I'm wrong there as well. So I'm just going to have to cry for help. And I was asking him for help when it came to coloured flags, kind of going, I need to get numbers out of colours. And all I'm kind of thinking is DMC colours. Yeah, wait until I do a puzzle cache on DMC codes. It'll be cool. So yeah, and he's looking at it going, now if it was resistors, and I'd already worked out, you know, if it was resistors, because, you know, there's geocaching tools out there. Now, wasn't resistors, because I tried the code that worked for me if it was a resistor thing, and it wasn't working, and there's geo-checkers so you can prove if your coordinates are correct. So now, wasn't getting anywhere closer to a hit with that idea, and now it's just like, okay, I'm just going to put it away into the too hard basket for a little bit and come back to it again. But I think I solved maybe 7 puzzles yesterday, so I've got 7 caches, you know, just close to me, to be able to go to, you know, if I ever get back out caching again with the weather brightening up. So yeah, and I look, they could be wrong. One of them doesn't have a geo checker, and the math that I did to work out where it was may be off. I had one that I ended up using the app that I found that, you know, could give me 2 bearings, and I had to follow 2 different lines, and it was where they intersected, but when I put the intersection into the geochecker it came up wrong. But somebody else also did the same thing and it came up wrong as well, but they went there anyway, and they have managed to find the cache, because the picture that we get as a hint is a tree stump, and it's a particular kind of tree stump. So I should be able to find it by using their same method. It's basically in the middle of these 2 paths. So he basically, and the stump is something like 5 meters off the path. So he said he walked both of these paths. So I know I'm in the right kind of region. It's just a matter of me going up and doing it. And it's not a kind of walk that Marcus is going to want to do, because he doesn't like doing the walking, especially if it's rough ground. It's too much brain power for him to concentrate on footfall, and so I'll wait for the weather to be a bit nicer than it is, because I don't want to get caught in the rain. And you know, I'll maybe go and do that with the dog one day, when I'm feeling a bit more kind of bushwalky, rather than, you know, get out of the car and it's, you know, 5 meters away from me kind of thing.
Did you just say I can't walk and talk at the same time?
No, I did not say you couldn't walk and talk. I said you don't particularly like walking on rough ground because you have to overthink it. Because he's got, his back is, you know, the top third is kaput. So the jolts and the uneven ground hurt him, and the bottom 2 are pretty stuffed too, yeah. So he's, you know, he's kind of knackered in lots of respects. So the walking that I do get him to do is kind of a bonus, which was a little bit misleading when we first started dating, I will say, on the record here. Because he came and he beach walked with me and everything else, and, you know... What? Yeah, he did alright. Didn't tell me that he doesn't normally walk. Oh, God. So there's no romantic walks on the beach kind of thing or anything with him. You know, he's not overly active. Yeah, doesn't like the wind. Actually, to be honest, getting the wind in your ear and it goes right down into your canal and you end up with this cold into your neck, that's horrible. Yeah, you have to wear a hoodie for that. I actually put my hoodie up when I took Sophie down there the last time, because the wind was going down my ear, and it's horrible. And because it's into the core of you, there's just no getting warm. So you know, you got to keep your hands on your ear, and, you know, you get the earache, and it's like, oh God. No, I remember that pain. Yeah, it's not nice. Ear muffs are what you need on that beach. Anyway, yeah, so we don't, you know, get out and do the whole, let's go for a walk this sunny evening or anything like that. You know, whereas I might have done that more. And my kids were pretty active, so they'd come for a walk with me of an evening, even if the ex didn't. You know, and we would walk the dogs. You know, we'd throw the dogs into the car because it was an old car and we didn't care about the muck, whereas now it's the new car and throwing muck into the car is like, yeah, hesitation. You know, so he doesn't get thrown into the car as much, although he's a brilliant car traveller. He loves the car. He actually will sit in the seat next to me and just kind of, you know, sit there, really. He doesn't even dribble and drool with nervousness or anything else, and he's just fun in the car, and he loves it. He loves the attention. So he doesn't get that often enough. But then everywhere here is pretty much, you've got to have your dog on a lead. Which is okay, because Mocha, of any of the dogs I've had, Mocha would be on the lead. The retriever, Latte, would be on the lead. Guinness could be off the lead because he was such a slow walker. He'd just trot along, you know, oblivious to everything. He was like I don't know what he was like. He was a brown bundle of fur and would just amble along. He was a bizarre kind of womble of a thing. Whereas Mocha, if I'd let Mocha off lead, I'll lose him. He'll go hunting a smell. So, you know, he's got to be on lead anyway. And it's really, really awkward to have a dog on lead and a 3-year-old that may or may not enjoy the walk and spit the dummy and need carrying. And then you've got kid being carried, dog on leash, and because I don't wear jeans anymore, I don't have belt loops to put the leash on. That was always a good thing. I had a leather belt on my jeans, you know, which was sturdy, and I had belt loops, so I would put the leash through my belt and just let the dog go. And I'd do the same with the kids, actually. Don't laugh. I put the kids onto cat leashes or small dog leashes and a cat collar on their wrist, and then I could be hands-free with them and carrying the other one in the sling or on the pram or whatever it was. Yes, it was definitely a case of too many children at once. You know, because you just can't. If you've got one child who goes that way and you've got another child, what do? You can't leave that child. You've got, you know, so you've got to tether the one that's going to run so you can keep hold of the other one. I don't think I ever walked with both kids on a leash, but I remember having Ian on the leash, and I think I had AJ on the leash, the older of the two, because I had like 2 and then a gap and then 2. So, you know, it was like having twins. It was, they were so close and I was so full on at the time. Yes, but I leashed my kids. I recommend it. You know, you see the kids on harnesses. I did that. I didn't like the harnesses because if you have to yank them, you're grabbing their whole body kind of, and you haven't got a point of stabilization. Whereas with the leash, the arm has a bit of give and the leash has a bit of give, and my kids were really good on it. They didn't have to get yanked anywhere. I just needed to know where they were. You know, when I was walking, it didn't have to have eyes on them all the time. I always knew they were going to be within a meter of me. You know, all of that kind of thing. My dog was always really good. Tinker, when I had him from a teenager, I used to actually walk down the road. He would run ahead of me, maybe 5 meters or so. And as soon as he started going, I'd turn around and go the opposite direction, and he'd go, what the? Turn around and come running back. And then he'd go past me a few meters. I'd turn around and walk the other way. And that was how I trained him to invisible leash length. And then when I went down to the football ground, which was just a huge, it was the football pitch that I don't think it was ever used. It was the middle of nothing. So it wasn't near a school, you know, it was just a big grass soccer pitch, football pitch. I don't even think they had line markings. So there was a full-size pitch, and then there was a thing off the side. No play equipment, no nothing. There was goal posts, which were just the posts, straight up and straight down. The rest was just grass that got mowed, and there wasn't change rooms. There was nothing else. It was behind a bunch of houses. Next to it was the graveyard. So, you know, sometimes we used to climb up on the wall, and it was the funniest thing ever. There was one day that we were up on the wall, which, you know, great big broad rock, sorry, not rock, like cement wall, brick, you know, 2-3 bricks wide kind of thing, like you would straddle, like you'd straddle a horse. And one day the grave diggers were actually digging out a hole, so you'd see all this muck coming flying out of a grave, and it was like, ah, run. It was crazy. So yeah, there was the graveyard, and then there was another estate. I don't know what the housing is like over in the States with it. You know, it seems to be more streets. UK, you guys would know what I'm talking about, in that you'd have an estate. Well, I was in one estate which, you know, was called Holly Park, and it was so 1, 2, 3 three kind of streets. So there was a block kind of like this. So this was one street. The football pitch was down here and at the bottom. There was a street here, there was a street here. They all joined up and they went around, and there was, you know, the street here, and then there was a school. Well, there was another estate on the other side of that football pitch called Spring Hill, and that was another massive block with houses all around the block. The centre houses would back onto each other's back gardens, and the front houses effectively were on the street. So it was gardens down the middle and street on, you know, and that kind of thing. That's how estates are in Ireland. Here you've got suburbs, but you don't have estates. Yeah, it's... Whereas you'd have estates within suburbs in Ireland. And, you know, they'd all be kind of self-sufficient, sort of. You know, there'd be a newsagent nearby or something like that. Now, Spring Hill didn't have a newsagent, I don't think, in their area. But it just kind of, I don't know, it stopped. There was sprawl, but there wasn't so much sprawl that it was all connected. Like, you had to go into this. It was just a giant cul-de-sac. Like, you couldn't get anywhere in the car through one estate through to the other. Whereas here it's all kind of interconnected. You know, you go from one bit to the next bit kind of thing. So yeah, I used to go down to the football pitch with Tinker, and when he was down there, I would then go, that was the magic sound for him, and he knew he could run, and he had apparently greyhound somewhere in him. Or maybe that was just me thinking he had greyhound. He had these long skinny legs. He wasn't tall, but he had skinny legs, and then he had like a black and tan kind of speckled body, and he had, you know, kind of a greyhoundish nose. His mother, I think, was a lab. And he would run like the wind, like he was a greyhound, and he would lap the football field, you know, 2 or 3 times before he kind of went and, you know, he'd run himself out, and then he'd just settle down and just, you know, walk around and sniff. But yeah, you know, he would stay near me until he got that kind of run free command. He was awesome, and I don't know why. He was so well trained, or he was so responsive maybe, when none of my others, who I was always with, maybe it was because I had kids rather than, you know, just the dog, but none of my other dogs were quite as well off-leash trained as he was. He was awesome. Yeah, as I say, Guinness was, you know, he was fine. He was like a table. He was so stiff in the winter, poor thing. And he just was not flexible whatsoever. Yeah, looking at him trying to run made me cringe, because he was literally like, there was no movement in him. He was just kind of up and down and very, very blocky kind of running. But yeah, he could be trusted off leash because he was just so freaking slow and just didn't bother with anything. He was like bomb proof. He was awesome. Whereas the retrievers were clowns by comparison. Like Latte would run off and go play at the beach, and he'd take Mako with him. Yeah, so what I would do often when I had the two of them is keep one on leash and the other one off, because they always come back or stay with their buddy. They would go running off like a lunatic without the buddy on the leash. That kind of thing. So, yeah, there's that. So winter is coming. We had daylight savings. It was really weird. We had daylight savings change last weekend, and it got to 6:30 one evening, and it was already dark, and I said it to Marcus. We were late home or something after work one afternoon. I was like, we've only just changed into daylight savings, and it's already feeling like it's the middle of winter because it's so dark, and it's just kind of like lights out, everything just shuts off. When? Tomorrow it's supposed to snow below 700 meters, which means that at the mountain that you see in some of my photos, just that away, is going to be white on top. Last week, it was a stinking heat wave. Like, I mean, stinking heat wave. It was 32 degrees in April, the first week in April. We have never had a 32 degree day in Hobart in April before, recorded. You know, it's all kinds of wackadoo at the moment. And if somebody wants to pipe up and say, it's climate change, no, it's an El Nino year. We're going to be in for a doozy of weather changes. Peru, right, okay. I thought, Peru? Who's Peru?
That's where the...
You know, I know. Yeah. Anyway. Oh dear. So yeah, I don't know what we're in for winter-wise. The summer literally felt like it was about a week long. It never really got stinking hot. It was pleasant. It was really just pleasant most of the days. But was never so stinking hot that, you know, we were miserable. Unlike my counterparts up in Queensland, who were actually saying it was a beautiful day up there today. And it's like, oh, go away. It's bleak down here. It's, you know, I say we had the blue sky a few minutes ago when I started recording. It's now just grey, overcast, and the rain is falling. The wind has actually stopped, I think. And it's just bleh. Like, my poor cats aren't even out and complaining to me. They're all huddled up indoors. Probably all licking their wounds now that they've been fed and everything else. Yeah, they're not going to be, I don't think they're going to be sitting outside getting overly wet on a day like today. So yeah, summer's over. And then all you guys up in the north are all gonna start getting hot and complaining about the heat, and yeah. But just remember, it's an El Nino year. Unexpected things happen in an El Nino year. Like severe weather. I think they were talking about a tornado on the news yesterday in Australia, and they were saying, you know, there was a tornado warning, and the guy who was talking saying, we're just not used to tornadoes here, so people, please make sure that you get safe. And I know, whose live was I in? I was in Jennifer's live, and I was in, Grace. I was in Grace's live. Grace is the Aussie Grace. I was in her live, and I think it was in her live that somebody said, gotta go, just got a tornado warning over in the States. So, yeah. All kinds of crazy. What am I going to do next? I know I've taken out lots and lots of colours. I'm not going to keep you on camera for them. I might get my 3s done. Give her the bangles and then let you guys go. I don't know if you mind the longer whip and chats. If I've got photos to show you and all that kind of thing, I certainly would keep you longer. But maybe for just the general chit chat, I'll keep it around the hour mark. One thing I've noticed with YouTube, I didn't get an alert when somebody joined my membership, so I actually have a couple of members now, and I think, I could be wrong, but my first ever member was Rachel, and I'm ever so thankful for that, for the fact that it's Rachel, and that, you know, she has joined my membership. Not that anyone gets any perks for the membership at this stage. It is just a, hey, this is just a coffee a month kind of, you know, love you, keep doing what you're doing kind of thing. I'm still thinking about Patreon. I know people are, you know, short of money and all of that kind of thing, so I'm conscious of that too. So there's that, and there's time, my time and everything. So I want to make sure that if I do something like Patreon, that I'm actually offering you guys something of me. And vlogging might be that kind of thing. You know, look, I certainly miss the more up-to-date everyday contact, and vlogging can be very different from diamond painting, whip and chat, unboxings, all of that kind of thing. So, you know, I'm quite happy to consider doing that. Oops, there's more 3s. You know, as something that, you know, you definitely do get back something on. So there's Rachel, and I think Gwenda was the other member that I have. So thank you very much, girls, for joining in and supporting me and all that kind of thing. I really, really appreciated it. In fact, when I looked at the membership and saw who it was the first time, it was like, oh my god, you're gonna make me cry. I can't, you know, it was just like, aha, I just want to hug you. And then of course watching her videos, because, you know, I'm a Patreon of Rachel, and watching her videos of her, I hadn't got a tier selected, and she made some changes at the beginning of the year. So when she was talking on her last whip and chat, she's talking about, no, oh, I did, you know, vlogs on, you know, on Patreon and blah blah, and I'm kind of going, what is she talking about? I didn't get any of these. And of all the people that I jump on straight away, sorry, don't mean that in a bad way, but all the people I will jump when a video alert comes through, it's Rachel. And I didn't get alerts from Rachel, so I'm kind of going, what's going wrong here? And she sent me an email then through Patreon, because somebody else had obviously picked up on this, thank goodness. And we figured out that because I hadn't got a specific tier selected, I wasn't getting a lot of her vlog videos while she was away when she made the change. So even though I was paying the level, I wasn't getting the perks, I suppose. And it wasn't, you know, I mean, as I said to her when I took out the Patreon, it was like, no, this is like me being able to go out for lunch with you. This is our treat. This is my time with you, you know, and that's how I was looking at it with her. Because again, she was blown away that I would become a Patreon of hers. It's like, you know, don't you know I love you? Sorry?
It's a mutual admiration.
It is a mutual admiration society because we're friends. So, yeah, the girls kind of joined in, but yeah, it was kind of catching up on her vlogs, and I'm going, oh my god, you know, we'd messaged, and, you know, it's all well and good hearing stuff in text, but when you're hearing the emotion and the more real-time feelings, I'm kind of going, oh my god, you're breaking my heart all over again over Grampy. And it was just like, oh, I just want to give you a big hug. So yeah, really missed that, and really loved getting all of those. So I binge watched her yesterday when I had an office day. No, not yesterday, on Thursday when I had an office day. I was binge watching and just listening. It was just like, oh, it's so nice to catch up. Yeah, because I had missed her when she was away, and I was trying not to, you know, bombard her and all of that kind of thing. And it was like, oh, I was really missing things because There was a glitch. Stupid. Okay, anyway. I'm done. Wait, hang on. Look, so she's got a bracelet. She's got nothing in between her bracelet, but... Oh, I think it's like her collarbone is slightly different. It could have been like a necklace. Don't know if I'd put ABs in and make her get a necklace. Don't know. I haven't got any of the, what are they? Quad cubes from Tina yet. But yeah, something like I could put in a string of ABs and a big quad cube below it and give her a necklace. Because she seems to be, you know, showing off the bracelet. You know, with her little pose. You know, how you'd flash a big chunk of rock on your finger. Yeah, you see, she needs a rock on her finger too. And then it would look a bit more of an appropriate pose. Because, yeah, she's got the drippy earrings, which are ABs. She just seems to be lacking some jewellery. I might have to get some quad cubes. After all, I'm scared to go on Tina's website because I'm going to want to buy it all. What?
Bling.
Yeah, bling. The quad cubes are like 4 times a single cube though. Or a single drill. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Alright. I'll keep going. Or not. Or pack it up and, you know, take it in dribbles. But I've got all these drills out ready to go. And I'm not leaving them out for Sophie to annihilate. So, I'll see how I go with that one. I have lots of videos to do, so I'm going to be busy. And I will schedule them and all that kind of jazz over the next few days. So, in the meantime, take care of yourselves, please. Yeah, just stay safe. Get the vaccines if you can. I know everywhere is, you know, up in the air about get this one, get that one, don't get that one kind of thing. It's all Australia's talking about at the moment. Yeah, so just make yourself safe. And I know one of our creators, Jill, is in hospital with COVID, so I don't know if Jill watches my videos, but yeah, it, you know, it's affecting people that we know. It's affecting people that I know. And I'm, you know, the arsehole of Australia, so if I know them, chances are you know them too. It's Boots' Mama, I think is her name on YouTube. So you're probably familiar with seeing her name, Boots' Mama, because Boots is her cat. So yeah, think about the people who are there, and God forbid that, you know, there's people who have been lost to it, creators, friends, family, and all that kind of thing. So please stay safe. It is affecting too many people. Yeah, it's going to feel like maybe some people aren't doing enough, and you know, there's just that struggle. So trying to grieve and deal and all of that kind of thing. So if you need to, please drop me a line and just say, you know, can we chat? I'm available. And because I'm on the opposite side of the world, sometimes I'm available when you can't sleep at night. So I might be available to chat there too. In person, like on message. So, you know, the links are all in the description at the bottom, you know, how to get in touch with me, email or whatever. Please, you know, feel free to talk like that, or drop me a comment. If you don't mind, if it's a public comment, drop me a comment, and you know, I'll read that and respond there. But if you want a private conversation, certainly email or messenger. You can always message me. I won't necessarily accept a personal friend request unless I know you, but yeah, absolutely catch you on Messenger. It's not a problem. So yeah, I will see you around on the tubes. And yeah, bye for now. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.